veterans across our region are getting improved services while the nonprofit that provides them has significantly reduced its costs at the same time. We're talking an 80% improvement in productivity while cutting costs by 70%. And that's good news because always limited resources are going a lot further. The organization is called the Veterans Leadership Program of Western Pennsylvania. And Ben Stahl is the executive director. Steve Blaney helped to streamline the operation. He's principal of Performance Associates. And welcome. Good to have you both here.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, for folks who don't know the organization or the company, a little bit about that. So, Steve, what's Performance Associates all about?
We're a management consulting firm working in profit and nonprofit sectors. And accompanying that, we have a data analytics solution as well that helps sustain the improvement once we're finished with our consulting.
All right. For folks who don't know the Veterans Organization, what are you all about?
Well, Veterans Leadership Program provides services to veterans in 18 counties in Western Pennsylvania. Oh. We do that through providing housing, employment, supportive services. So, been around since 1982 and serve a lot of veterans every year.
Okay, so, and this relationship came about in an interesting way because it was really the Forbes funds here in Pittsburgh who's kind of had the idea that some nonprofits could use this kind of advice. How did it happen?
Absolutely. So the Forbes funds hosted a panel presentation for Performance Associates. I attended and then wrote a proposal to be accepted into a cohort that the Forbes Fund sponsored, and then we were able to work with two other nonprofit organizations on one component of process reengineering. So we had to pick one, and we would be able to walk through with the other nonprofits with Steve and his team.
So you've been around for 30 years or so. Why did you think you needed this sort of advice? Sounds like everything at that organization should be totally well-oiled at this point, right?
You would think. Just as you add programs and you add different systems and entities outside of the organization, it really becomes a challenge of system interoperability. So redundant efforts, redundant data entry, these things that are required for other programs or different programs, we found ourselves doing twice and doing the same thing 3 or 4 times. So over time, when you don't focus on that process, it becomes this cumbersome beast that was getting out of control. So we just took a look in.
So Steve comes in and takes a look, looks under the hood, and kind of sees what you're doing. So why don't we start with the results, and then we'll talk about how you did it. So what have you been able to do for the Veterans Leadership Program?
Well, a couple of things. One is a direct cost savings of over $100,000, which they're realizing in this new fiscal year. So that's a huge savings on the administrative side of the
How big's your budget?
Program. About $4.7 million.
So $4.7 million. So $100,000 is real money, in that size organization, right? Yeah.
Yes, and we did that, and then we compressed their cycle time by 80%. Took it from 18 days to perform an intake to 3 days, which they're now enabling to see their consumers or clients in a much more rapid fashion.
So the throughput increases. You're able to help more people sooner and with better value. So what did he see that you didn't see or you hadn't thought about or hadn't had time to think about?
I think you just haven't had time and haven't had the resources to dedicate to that. So, with the capacity grant from the Forbes funds, we were able to take a step back, chart out our process, chart out the subcomponents of that process, and really look for, redundancies, challenges, barriers, organizationally, challenges that the consumer would face through that process, and really be thoughtful and mindful about honing out and drawing out the most efficient process that would deliver a quality product to the consumers that we're serving.
Yeah, what don't nonprofits do that they should be doing to address these kinds of issues on a regular basis?
Well, it's kind of a systematic view of the operations. We took the financials, we measured activities, we re-engineered the process to really find and streamline the operations and improve workflows, which cuts out all the redundancies, the inefficiencies, and while it does that, it improves the customer delivery of the services provided.
Well, were you surprised how much time you were just losing in the process and just dealing with all of this?
I had this assumption, but
it's down there in your gut, right?
Yeah,
but you couldn't.
That's what drew me to get in touch with them. That's why I went to the presentation, and once I saw the maximum cycle times for all of these different components could be upwards of almost 3 weeks if everything ran its course. Yeah, it was eye-opening.
Yeah, and I tell you, we're talking nonprofits, but I would think you see this a lot in the for-profit world as well.
Absolutely.
That you work with.
Yeah. An 80%, 60, 70% reduction in cycle time is not uncommon.
Really? If people take this sort of thing seriously, and that adds up to real money.
It does, because you can, that constrains your ability to deliver value. The faster that you can compress it by, you also increase value added in the process, because we take inefficiencies and convert them into more value added. So the product improves, the cycle time is reduced, customers are happy, and they have a better following as a result.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So only a few seconds left, but where do you go from here? What's next? Or are you done? You got it all sorted out, right?
We've already been awarded another grant from the Forbes funds based off of the work that we started in the summer, and we're deeper into the weeds, refining and re-engineering more processes. Want to make the organization as efficient as possible.
So you find continued places you can go and improve.
Absolutely. The data analytics is providing them with new means to measure and improve and sustain their business model. And our model is taking that ratio of admin costs to service delivery, and we're smashing or pushing down the admin cost and increasing their value added. So it's a great story, good for the board, good for the organization.
Very good, and good for the Forbes funds for helping to fund this and make it possible for some nonprofits to take advantage of this. Steve Blaney from Performance Associates, Ben Stahl from the Veterans Leadership Program of Western Pennsylvania. Thank you both so much. Continued success.
Thank you.
And next up, efforts to revitalize one small community get a boost through the generosity of a native son. Stay with us.